According to mathematics, not a single Roman should have emerged alive from that valley that day. They faced no ordinary enemy. Before them stood a woman whom Romans had flogged publicly, whose daughters they had raped before soldiers' eyes, a mother driven mad by rage, Queen Boudica. And behind her, a massive barbarian ocean of 230,000 sworn to vengeance. The Romans? Only 10,000 men. For every single Roman soldier, 23 enemies waited to tear him apart. There was nowhere to run. No reinforcements would come. That day should have been Rome's last in Britain. But when the sun set, a miracle occurred that history books struggled to record. When the smoke cleared, 80,000 barbarian corpses lay in the valley. The Roman army still standing. How did a handful of soldiers stop this human flood rushing toward them? Was it luck, or was it the coldest, most ruthless military trap history had ever witnessed? Today, we go to where the impossible became real. The Battle of Watling Street. A.D. 60. Britannia. The mist-covered plains of what would become England. Rome had conquered these lands 14 years prior, but conquest did not mean acceptance. It meant occupation, oppression, brutality. King Prasutagus of the Iceni tribe lay dying. He had made peace with Rome, had signed treaties, had believed Roman promises. His final act was desperate compromise. Leave half his kingdom to Rome, half to his daughters. Surely Rome would honor this. Surely they would show mercy to a loyal client king's family. They did not. Prasutagus died. Roman procurator Catus Decianus arrived with soldiers, not to pay respects, to collect. The kingdom belongs to Rome now, Decianus announced, all of it. Queen Boudica stood before him, tall, proud, red hair flowing. My husband's will. Your husband was Rome's subject. Subjects do not dictate terms to Rome. But the agreement? There is no agreement. There is only Rome's will. What happened next would ignite rebellion that nearly drove Rome from Britain forever. Decianus ordered Boudica stripped, publicly, in the center of her own capital, before her own people. Roman soldiers tied her to post, brought out whip. Leather cracked against flesh, once, twice, 20 times, 40. Her back split open, blood ran down legs. She did not scream, would not give them satisfaction. But worse was coming. Her daughters, teenagers, innocent, were dragged forward. What Roman soldiers did to them in that public square, before their mothers' eyes, before their people's eyes, cannot be fully described without breaking human decency. Suffice to say, they were violated, repeatedly, methodically, as demonstration of Roman power. This was not random cruelty. This was policy. Roman message to conquered peoples: resist and we destroy everything you love. Submit and we merely exploit you. But Rome had miscalculated badly. Boudica hung from that post, bleeding, broken. Her daughters lay weeping in dirt. Around them, Iceni people watched in horror, in rage, in something darker than rage, pure hatred crystallizing into purpose. That night, cut down and bandaged, Boudica did not weep, did not collapse. Her eyes had changed. Something died in them. Something else was born. They will pay, she whispered. Not threat, promise, prophecy. Mother, how? Her daughter's voice, broken. We are nothing to them. We are not nothing. We are everything they fear. They fear us united. They fear us angry. They fear us willing to die. Within week, messengers rode to every tribe in southeast Britain, Iceni, Trinovantes, Cornovi. All had suffered under Rome. All had grievances. All had dead to avenge. Message was simple. Rome has gone too far. They do not just take our land, they take our dignity, our daughters, our souls. Who stands with me? Tribes answered, not with words, with warriors. By end of month, Boudica commanded not just Iceni warriors, she commanded a confederation, an alliance, an army, 230,000 strong. Men who had never fought together, women who took up weapons alongside husbands, elders who remembered freedom, children old enough to hold spear, all united by single purpose: destroy Rome in Britain. This was not professional army, was not disciplined legion. It was human tsunami of rage given form, painted blue with woad, screaming war cries that echoed across hills, carrying heads of previous Roman victims as standards. Boudica stood before them, scars still fresh on back, daughters beside her, alive but forever changed. She raised sword, not Roman gladius, but long Celtic blade. "Rome thinks we are barbarians," she shouted. "They are right. We are not civilized. We do not rape children to make political points. We do not torture women for profit. We are barbarians, and we are coming for them." The roar that answered shook ground. First target, Camulodunum, modern Colchester, Roman colony filled with retired legionaries, easy target, undefended, soft. Boudica's horde descended on it like locust swarm. No mercy, no prisoners. Every Roman man, woman, child was killed. Homes burned. Temple of Claudius, symbol of Roman authority, was besieged, then massacred. Everyone inside was slaughtered. Thousands dead, city erased. Next, Londinium, London, thriving port, commercial center, larger, wealthier, more Romans. Same fate. Boudica's forces swept through streets. Archaeological evidence shows layers of red ash from this period, Roman blood mixed with burnt timber. Mass graves reveal bodies thrown hastily into pits, skulls split, bones showing trauma marks. 80,000 Romans and Roman allies died in these two cities alone. Britain's Roman governor, Gaius Suetonius Paulinus, was campaigning in Wales when news reached him. He had 10,000 men, maybe less. Boudica had 230,000, and she was heading for him. The mathematics was clear. Rome was finished in Britain. But Suetonius was not ordinary general, was not panicking politician, was cold professional who understood something Boudica did not yet realize. Size is not strength. Rage is not discipline. Numbers do not win battles. Strategy does. And Suetonius was about to demonstrate why Rome conquered half the known world despite being outnumbered in nearly every battle they fought. The trap was being set. Boudica was walking into it, and when it closed, that valley would run red with barbarian blood. Londinium burned behind him. Suetonius could see smoke rising, could hear distant screams carried on wind. City was dying. 30,000 civilians trapped inside. Romans, allies, merchants, women, children. They begged him to save them. He refused. "Sir," his tribune said, voice shaking, "we must defend the city. Our people are already dead. Suetonius interrupted, voice flat, emotionless. "We have 10,000 men. City walls are incomplete. Boudica has 230,000. We cannot hold. But the civilians will die whether we stay or leave. If we stay, we die with them. Then Boudica marches unopposed to next city, and next, all of Britain falls." Tribune stared, horror on his face. "You would abandon them?" "I would save Rome." Suetonius turned away from smoke, from screams. "Evacuate anyone who can march with us. Anyone too old, too young, too slow, leave them." "Sir, that is an order." This was Rome's brutal mathematics. Save the useful, sacrifice the rest. Emotion was luxury, mercy was weakness, survival required cold calculation. Some civilians joined retreat, perhaps few thousand, young men, healthy families, those who could keep pace with legionaries marching 20 miles per day. The rest left to Boudica's mercy, which meant no mercy at all. When Boudica's horde reached Londinium, they found city half empty, remaining civilians huddled in homes, in temples, in warehouses, praying, weeping, waiting. Celts showed no hesitation, no discrimination. Old men murdered in streets, women violated, then killed, children clubbed, every building torched. The archaeological record is clear. Destruction layer from AD 60 shows uniform burning, total annihilation. But Suetonius did not look back, could not afford to. While Boudica wasted days slaughtering civilians, he was moving, marching, positioning. He sent scouts ahead. "Find me narrow valley, elevated rear, forest behind, open approach in front, flanks that cannot be turned." Scouts searched. Britain had many valleys, most unsuitable. Too wide, Boudica could surround them. Too narrow, Romans could not deploy effectively. Too exposed, no protection from flanking cavalry. Then they found it, unnamed valley along Watling Street, perfect natural fortress. Rear, dense forest, impassable to large army, protected Roman backs completely. Flanks, steep hillsides, cavalry could not climb them, infantry would struggle. Front, funnel-shaped approach, wide at entrance, narrowing toward Roman position. This was critical, would force 230,000-strong horde into progressively tighter space, would negate numerical advantage. Suetonius studied sight personally, walked the ground, measured distances, calculated angles. "Here," he said finally, "we make our stand here." Officers looked uncertain. The valley seemed small, insignificant. How could this stop 230,000? "Sir," one ventured, "perhaps we should continue retreating, reach coast, evacuate." "No," Suetonius cut him off. "Boudica expects us to run, expects us to panic. We will do opposite. We will stop, we will wait, we will dare her to attack us." "But the numbers mean nothing in this terrain. She can bring 230,000, but this valley will only fit 5,000 at once. We will not fight her whole army. We will fight 5,000 enemies, 23 times. Finally, officers understood. Geography was weapon, terrain was ally. Rome's 10,000 would not face 230,000 simultaneously, would face manageable waves, could defeat them piecemeal. But still required impossible discipline, required soldiers to stand while human ocean crashed against them, required faith that plan would work. Suetonius had that faith, not in gods, in training, in Roman machine. He gave final order: fortify position, sharpen stakes, rest men. Tomorrow Boudica arrives, and tomorrow we show her why Rome conquers the world. The valley had no name, would become legend. But first it needed preparation. Suetonius walked the ground at dawn. Behind him, dense British forest, ancient oaks, thick undergrowth. impassable to organized force. His rear was protected absolutely. No army could attack from behind. He turned, surveyed the approach. Valley opened like funnel, wide entrance, perhaps 400 meters across, but narrowed steadily toward Roman position. At narrowest point, barely 100 meters wide. Physics, Suetonius said to his engineers, not magic, simple physics. Engineers understood immediately. 230,000 warriors could not occupy 100-meter frontage. Most would wait behind, useless, frustrated, unable to engage. How many can attack simultaneously? An engineer asked. Suetonius calculated. In this width, fighting in loose Celtic formation, 5,000, perhaps 6, and we have 10,000. Exactly. We will always outnumber the enemy actually fighting us. But geography alone was not enough. Needed enhancement, needed engineering. Dig shallow trenches, Suetonius ordered, not deep enough to stop charge, just enough to break stride, to stumble them. Soldiers dug, not elaborate fortifications, just ankle-breaking depressions, hidden by grass, invisible until too late. Plant caltrops in approach zones. Caltrops, four-pointed iron spikes. No matter how they landed, one point always faced upward. Step on one, spike drove through foot, through sandal, into bone. Warrior went down screaming, created obstacle for those behind. Position artillery at flanks. Rome had scorpions, bolt-throwing machines. Not many, perhaps 20, but in narrow valley, each could fire down length of approach. Bolts would penetrate multiple enemies, thread them like beads. Stakes along our front, angled forward. Sharpened wooden stakes driven into ground at 45-degree angle. Breast height. Running enemy would impale himself. Even if he saw stakes, stopping momentum was nearly impossible in crush of charging horde. Geography was becoming a death trap, but key element remained, positioning the legions themselves. Suetonius organized his 10,000 carefully. Center, 3 legions, 14th Gemina, 20th Valeria, fragments of others. Approximately 7,000 heavy infantry. These were core. These would hold line. 10 ranks deep, Suetonius ordered. When front rank tires, rotate to rear. Fresh men always forward. This was Roman innovation. Other armies fought until exhausted, then broke. Rome rotated fighters, maintained constant fresh front line, could fight for hours without degradation. Flanks, auxiliary infantry, 2,000 men, lighter armor, more mobile. Their job was not holding center, was preventing flanking attempts, climbing those steep hillsides to stop anyone trying to get around Roman position. Reserve, 1,000 cavalry, behind main line, not for charging, terrain prohibited it, for exploitation. When enemy broke, if enemy broke, cavalry would pursue, would turn retreat into rout, would maximize casualties. "Sir," a centurion asked, "what if they do not attack?" Suetonius smiled coldly. "They will attack. Boudica is not general, is mother seeking revenge. Her army is not disciplined, is mob seeking blood. They will see us, will rage, will charge, cannot help themselves. And if they are smarter than expected, then we have chosen ground we can defend indefinitely. Forest behind provides wood, water. We have supplies for weeks. They have none. They brought families, remember. Families need food. Families cannot wait. Time favors us." It was a perfect trap. If Boudica attacked, geography would slaughter her army. If she waited, her horde would starve, morale would collapse, tribes would drift away. Either way, Rome won. But Suetonius knew Boudica would attack, had studied her,
had read reports of Camulodunum, Londinium. She fought with emotion, with rage, with need for vengeance. That rage would drive her warriors into this funnel, this killing ground, this death machine. "Prepare the men," Suetonius said. "Tomorrow the barbarians come, and tomorrow this valley earns its name in blood."
The valley had no name, would become legend. But first, it needed preparation. Suetonius walked the ground at dawn. Behind him, dense British forest, ancient oaks, thick undergrowth, impassable to organized force. His rear was protected absolutely. No army could attack from behind. He turned, surveyed the approach. Valley opened like funnel, wide entrance, perhaps 400 meters across, but narrowed steadily toward Roman position. At narrowest point, barely 100 meters wide. "Physics," Suetonius said to his engineers, "not magic, simple physics." Engineers understood immediately. 230,000 warriors could not occupy 100-meter frontage. Most would wait behind, useless, frustrated, unable to engage. "How many can attack simultaneously?" an engineer asked. Suetonius calculated. In this width, fighting in loose Celtic formation, 5,000, perhaps 6, and we have 10,000. Exactly. We will always outnumber the enemy actually fighting us. But geography alone was not enough. Needed enhancement, needed engineering. "Dig shallow trenches," Suetonius ordered, "not deep enough to stop charge, just enough to break stride, to stumble them." Soldiers dug, not elaborate fortifications, just ankle-breaking depressions, hidden by grass, invisible until too late. Plant caltrops in approach zones. Caltrops, four-pointed iron spikes. No matter how they landed, one point always faced upward. Step on one, spike drove through foot, through sandal, into bone. Warrior went down screaming, created obstacle for those behind. Position artillery at flanks. Rome had scorpions, bolt-throwing machines. Not many, perhaps 20, but in narrow valley, each could fire down length of approach. Bolts would penetrate multiple enemies, thread them like beads. Stakes along our front, angled forward. Sharpened wooden stakes driven into ground at 45-degree angle. Breast height. Running enemy would impale himself. Even if he saw stakes, stopping momentum was nearly impossible in crush of charging horde. Geography was becoming a death trap, but key element remained, positioning the legions themselves. Suetonius organized his 10,000 carefully. Center, 3 legions, 14th Gemina, 20th Valeria, fragments of others. Approximately 7,000 heavy infantry. These were core. These would hold line. 10 ranks deep, Suetonius ordered. When front rank tires, rotate to rear, fresh men always forward. This was Roman innovation. Other armies fought until exhausted, then broke. Rome rotated fighters, maintained constant fresh front line, could fight for hours without degradation. Flanks, auxiliary infantry, 2,000 men, lighter armor, more mobile. Their job was not holding center, was preventing flanking attempts, climbing those steep hillsides to stop anyone trying to get around Roman position. Reserve, 1,000 cavalry, behind main line, not for charging, terrain prohibited it, for exploitation. When enemy broke, if enemy broke, cavalry would pursue, would turn retreat into rout, would maximize casualties. "Sir," a centurion asked, "what if they do not attack?" Suetonius smiled coldly. "They will attack. Boudica is not general, is mother seeking revenge. Her army is not disciplined, is mob seeking blood. They will see us, will rage, will charge, cannot help themselves."
And if they are smarter than expected, then we have chosen ground we can defend indefinitely. Forest behind provides wood, water. We have supplies for weeks. They have none. They brought families, remember. Families need food. Families cannot wait. Time favors us. It was a perfect trap. If Boudica attacked, geography would slaughter her army. If she waited, her horde would starve, morale would collapse, tribes would drift away. Either way, Rome won. But Suetonius knew Boudica would attack, had studied her, had read reports of Camulodunum, Londinium. She fought with emotion, with rage, with need for vengeance. That rage would drive her warriors into this funnel, this killing ground, this death machine. "Prepare the men," Suetonius said. "Tomorrow the barbarians come, and tomorrow this valley earns its name in blood."
They heard Boudica's army before they saw it, miles away. Low rumble, growing, growing, like thunder that never stopped. Then drums, massive war drums beaten in irregular rhythm. Celtic tribes did not march in step, did not synchronize. Each drummer followed own tempo. Result was chaotic pulse that churned stomach, that disoriented mind. Then Carnyx horns, those bronze war trumpets shaped like screaming boar heads. Sound was otherworldly, animal and mechanical simultaneously, designed to terrify, to break morale before first spear was thrown. Young Roman soldiers, first campaign, first real battle, began shifting nervously, checking equipment, glancing at centurions, looking for reassurance. They got none. Centurions stood stone-faced, silent. This too was training. Show no fear, show nothing. Sound grew louder, closer, now individual voices audible. War cries, challenges, screaming in Celtic languages Romans did not understand, did not need to understand. Meaning was universal: rage, hatred, promised violence. Then they appeared, horizon filling with bodies, blue-painted warriors, naked torsos, wild hair, weapons raised, moving in massive, undisciplined swarm toward Roman position. And they were singing. Celtic war songs were not melodic, were rhythmic chants, call and response, building intensity, thousands of voices joining, creating a wall of sound that physically pressed against Roman lines. Some warriors began displaying themselves, sexual gestures, mockery, showing buttocks, genitals. This was psychological warfare, showing contempt, showing fearlessness, showing Romans were not worth clothing oneself properly to fight. Others danced, war dances passed down generations, spinning, leaping, weapons flashing, demonstration of skill, of agility, of martial prowess. Women among them, yes, Celtic women fought, were screaming encouragement, some partially naked, some painted like men, all furious, all thirsting for Roman blood. Children too young to fight were banging shields, adding to cacophony, learning war by participation. Behind warriors, those wagons, hundreds of wagons arranged in a semicircle, families climbing onto them, finding viewing positions. This was entertainment, spectacle. They came to watch Romans die.
Boudica herself appeared, riding chariot, red hair streaming, scarred back visible where tunic fell open. Daughters beside her, symbol of Roman crime, proof of justification for what was coming. She raised sword, horde roared, sound was physical force, shook ground, vibrated in chest, 230,000 voices screaming as one, and Rome stood silent. Not single word, not single cry. Suetonius had ordered absolute silence, no responses to taunts, no war cries to match theirs, nothing. This was more unnerving than any sound Romans could make.
Celts expected challenge, expected shouting match, expected Romans to engage in pre-battle ritual. Instead, nothing. Just ranks of armored men standing motionless, shields locked, javelins ready, faces expressionless behind helmets. Death silence. This bothered Celts, made them uncomfortable. They increased volume, screamed louder, danced more frantically, showed more skin, more contempt, more aggression. Romans did not react, did not move, barely seemed to breathe. "Why aren't they afraid?" one Celtic warrior muttered to another. "They are afraid, they hide it. Then why so quiet?" No answer, because answer was terrifying. Romans were not afraid, were not hiding anything, were simply waiting, professionally, coldly, like executioners waiting for condemned to finish last words. Boudica saw this too, saw her warriors' displays failing to provoke response, saw uncertainty creeping into some faces, could not allow doubt, raised sword higher. "They raped your daughters," she screamed. "They burned your homes. They murdered your families. And now they stand silent because they know they are dead. They know we are storm. We are vengeance. We are justice." Horde roared again, louder, but now tinged with desperation, trying to convince themselves. Suetonius watched, smiled slightly. Psychology was working. Barbarians were burning energy, working themselves into frenzy, would charge exhausted, while Romans stood fresh, calm, ready. "Let them scream," he said quietly to nearest centurion. "Let them tire themselves. When they charge, they will already be half beaten."
Boudica raised her sword. Final gesture. Signal. The horde charged. Not organized, not in formation, just mass movement. 230,000 bodies surging forward simultaneously. The ground shook, literally trembled under that many feet striking earth. Front runners were fastest, youngest, most eager. They pulled ahead, created uneven wave. No cohesion, no plan, just individual warriors racing to be first to kill Romans. This was exactly what Suetonius wanted. "Hold," he said calmly, not shouting. Centurions relayed order down lines. "Hold position." Celts were 200 meters away, screaming, weapons raised, blue paint streaming with sweat, eyes wild with bloodlust. "Hold." 150 meters, could see individual faces now, contorted with rage, some foaming at mouth, literally berserk, consumed by battle fury that made them feel invincible. "Hold." 100 meters, thunder of footsteps deafening, war cries blending into single sustained roar, some Celts already throwing weapons, spears, stones, axes, most falling short, waste of ammunition. Romans did not respond, stood silent, shields locked, waiting. 50 meters, Celts bunching up as valley narrowed, starting to realize they were compressed, starting to slow slightly as those behind pushed into those ahead. Perfect. 30 meters. "Paila," Suetonius's voice cut through chaos, single word, clear, final. 10,000 right arms cocked back simultaneously, each holding pilum, Roman heavy javelin, 7-foot length of wood and iron, soft metal shank designed to bend on impact, heavy pyramidal point designed to penetrate. Loose! 10,000 pila launched upward at 45-degree angle, not thrown directly, thrown high, would arc, would fall from above with accumulated gravitational force. Barbarian front rank looked up, saw sky darkening, saw a cloud of iron death descending. No time to dodge, too many bodies pressed together, couldn't move laterally, couldn't retreat, those behind still pushing forward.
Pila fell like rain, like hail, like judgment. Iron points struck shields first. Soft shanks bent, made shields unusable, too heavy with javelin stuck through, couldn't hold properly. Warriors dropped shields or struggled under weight. Others struck bodies, penetrated skull, punched through ribcage, drove through shoulder into lung. Pyramidal heads created massive wound channels. A single pilum could kill, could cripple, could maim.
Wedge split Celtic line, created two separate fights, divided enemy, made them easier to kill. Then Wedge retracted, reformed line, repeated process 20 meters down, split them again. Celts were being segmented, isolated, destroyed piecemeal. Valley floor was slick with blood, bodies stacked. Romans literally stepped on corpses to maintain position, pushed dead Celts backward with shields, cleared space to continue killing. Still, Celts came, pressed from behind by those who could not see what was happening. Those in rear assumed victory was close, assumed one more push would break Romans, kept shoving forward. Those in front knew truth, knew they were dying, knew Roman line was unbreakable, tried to retreat, could not. Too many bodies behind them. Panic spread. Warriors turned to flee, trampled by their own people pushing forward, died under friendly feet. Romans did not pursue, did not need to, just held position, let Celts exhaust themselves, let funnel do its work. Boudica watched her army being destroyed, watched unstoppable horde stopped, watched warriors die in thousands while Romans stood firm. "Break them!" she screamed. "You outnumber them 20 to 1! Break them!" But numbers meant nothing. Valley negated numbers. Discipline defeated rage. Romans were not breaking, were not tiring, were simply killing, methodically, professionally, endlessly. And worst was yet to come, because behind Celtic army, those wagons, those families watching, were about to become trap.
First Celts reached Roman line, survivors of pilum volleys, bleeding, exhausted from sprint, stumbling over corpses, but still dangerous, still armed, still enraged. They swung long Celtic swords overhead, slashing attacks, powerful, wild, designed to cleave through shields, helmets, flesh. Romans did not meet strength with strength, met it with technique. "Testudo!" centurions barked. Shield wall contracted, overlapped, created solid barrier of curved rectangular scuta. Gladii extended through gaps, short stabbing swords, Roman innovation, not for slashing, for thrusting. Celtic warrior swung sword downward, hit Roman shield, blade stuck in wood, moment of vulnerability as he tried to wrench it free. Roman behind shield thrust gladius upward, into groin, into belly, withdrew. Blood sprayed, Celt collapsed. Next warrior tried different approach, attempted to hook shield with sword, pull it down, create opening. Shield did not move. Roman braced behind it. Second Roman thrust gladius from adjacent position, into exposed ribcage, twisted, withdrew, Celt fell. This was Roman warfare, not heroic duels, not individual combat, collective murder machine. Formation was key, each Roman protected by man beside him, each Roman protecting man beside him. No individual was vulnerable, no individual was alone. Strike, step, strike! Centurions maintained rhythm, coordinated violence. Shield bash, created space. Gladius thrust, precise, efficient. Step forward, shield bash.
gladius thrust, step forward. Romans were not fighting, were processing, like industrial machine converting living enemies into corpses. Celts died confused. Their swords were longer, their courage equal or greater, their numbers overwhelming, yet they were losing, dying in heaps, making no progress against Roman line. Because Romans fought as unit, Celts fought as individuals. Even standing shoulder to shoulder, each warrior fought his own battle. No coordination, no mutual support, just personal glory-seeking. Roman in front rank tired, arms heavy from repeated thrusting, breathing labored. "Rotate," centurion ordered. Front rank stepped back, second rank stepped forward. Fresh men, fresh arms, seamless transition. Fighting never stopped, wall never broke. This was advantage of depth. Romans were 10 ranks deep, could rotate endlessly, always fresh fighters forward, always rested men in reserve. Celts had no such system, fought until exhausted, then died. Wedge formation came next, Suetonius's refinement. Romans formed triangular projection into Celtic mass. The point of the wedge, strongest soldiers drove forward. The flanks of the wedge protected by overlapping shields.
Wedge split Celtic line, created 2 separate fights, divided enemy, made them easier to kill. Then Wedge retracted, reformed line, repeated process 20 meters down, split them again. Celts were being segmented, isolated, destroyed piecemeal. Valley floor was slick with blood, bodies stacked. Romans literally stepped on corpses to maintain position, pushed dead Celts backward with shields, cleared space to continue killing. Still, Celts came, pressed from behind by those who could not see what was happening. Those in rear assumed victory was close, assumed one more push would break Romans, kept shoving forward. Those in front knew truth, knew they were dying, knew Roman line was unbreakable, tried to retreat, could not, too many bodies behind them. Panic spread. Warriors turned to flee, trampled by their own people pushing forward, died under friendly feet. Romans did not pursue, did not need to, just held position, let Celts exhaust themselves, let funnel do its work. Boudica watched her army being destroyed, watched unstoppable horde stopped, watched warriors die in thousands while Romans stood firm. "Break them!" she screamed. "You outnumber them 20 to 1! Break them!" But numbers meant nothing. Valley negated numbers. Discipline defeated rage. Romans were not breaking, were not tiring, were simply killing, methodically, professionally, endlessly. And worst was yet to come, because behind Celtic army, those wagons, those families watching, were about to become trap.
Celtic warriors finally broke. Not all at once, gradually. Realization spreading like disease through ranks. They could not win, could not even reach Romans effectively, were dying by thousands while Romans stood unbloodied. First trickle of retreat, warriors at edges turning, running, then dozens, then hundreds. Suetonius saw it, moment he had waited for. Cavalry, advance! 1,000 Roman horsemen moved forward, not to charge into melee, to block escape routes, to turn retreat into slaughter. But bigger trap was already set by Celts themselves. Those wagons, hundreds of wagons arranged in wide semicircle behind Celtic army, families perched on them,
watching, expecting victory celebration, expecting to cheer husbands, fathers, brothers as they slaughtered Romans. Instead, watching them die. Now those wagons became a barrier. Fleeing Celts ran toward them, found passage blocked, wagons packed too tightly together, no gaps wide enough for the mass of panicked warriors. They tried to climb over. Wagons collapsed under weight, broke apart, created wreckage, created worse obstacles. Families screamed, abandoned wagons, tried to flee on foot. But where? Forest was distant, Romans were advancing, open ground offered no protection. Rout became massacre. Roman legionaries, released from defensive position, advanced in formation, still organized, still disciplined, but now hunting, stabbing fleeing enemies in back, cutting down anyone, warrior, woman, child in their path. Cavalry circled flanks, lances piercing backs of runners, trampling those who fell. This was not a battle, was execution. Boudica watched from chariot, horror replacing rage. Her army, 230,000 strong, was disintegrating, dying. Her vengeance was becoming nightmare. "Mother, we must go," her daughter said, voice hollow, traumatized twice now, once by Romans, now by witnessing this. Boudica nodded, turned chariot, fled, survived this day, but would not survive much longer. Roman cavalry pursued, but not far. Suetonius wanted message sent, not total annihilation. Let survivors escape. Let them tell what they saw. Let all Britain know Rome cannot be defeated through rage alone. Slaughter continued until sunset, then stopped. Not from mercy, from exhaustion. Even killing becomes tiresome. When silence finally fell, Suetonius surveyed battlefield. Bodies everywhere, stacked, scattered, draped over broken wagons. 80,000 dead, possibly more. Counting was impossible, mass of corpses too great. Roman casualties, 400 dead, perhaps 1,500 wounded, against 80,000 enemy killed. The ratio was obscene, was impossible, was Rome. "Sir," a tribune approached, "the victory is— I have no words." "Neither do I," Suetonius replied, "but Britain will. Boudica's rebellion is finished. Her army is destroyed. Her tribes will sue for peace. This island is ours." He was right. Boudica survived battle, but took poison weeks later, could not live with defeat, could not face broken tribes. Her daughter's fates are unknown, probably died with her. Celtic resistance continued sporadically, but never again with such numbers, never again with such hope. Watling Street entered history. Impossible battle, mathematical absurdity, 10,000 defeating 230,000. How? Geography, discipline, training, strategy, everything barbarians lacked, everything Rome perfected. Rage lost to order, courage lost to technique, numbers lost to intelligence. Boudica had every advantage except one: she was not Roman. And in AD 60, on blood-soaked British soil, that was only advantage that mattered. Valley had no name before battle. After, it needed none. Everyone knew it. Place where Rome proved, again, that empire was not built on luck, was built on discipline, on cold calculation, on a willingness to sacrifice anything, even innocence in Londinium, to achieve victory. Suetonius received triumph, became legend, died wealthy and honored. Boudica received poison, became myth, died broken and forgotten until modern age rediscovered her. History remembers both, but history is written by victors, and Rome always won.